So a little neatening up, and the blue is looking very dark, but not looking too bad. What we might do is we might run a little bit of lighter blue just around the edges right at the end, just to give a little bit of highlight, and that will help out. So I think what we're going to do now is, as an easy stage, we're going to get this tabard area done in a cloth colour. And the best way to do that, I find, is what we're going to do is go over with a nice off-white. We're going to use a Screaming Skull in this case. So any sort of bone white colour will do nicely. There we go. This is just a normal paint. So I'm going to thin that down a little. Try to keep it off the blue areas as well, actually. I made it too blue. We're going to put that all over this area where the cloth is, because then we're going to put the contrast paint over the top of that. And what that should do is, that should just give a nice base for the contrast to sit over. Now in this case, just to be sort of super quick and easy, we'll do a nice brown colour, and the brown will also help to shade the gold and give that a slightly deeper look. Now there's little sort of tassels here as well, so to colour those in. We may do those a differing colour, just give some interest, maybe like a nice red contrast might go nicely. And there seems to be little gold icons on the bottom of that as well, so we'll just colour that in like that. Again, just fairly thin coat of water with it. And again, we're reading the model here as well. I think that is armour and that is cloth. So I'm going to put the cloth like that. Yeah, I think so. And fill in the rest of it like this. So we're going to fill the rest of that area in. Try and keep off. We're going to leave these bits as gold, and we might just do these little bits of like a rope colour or an off-white colour later. Or you could do it another metallic colour to look like some sort of arcane chain. But we're going to fill that in, and then once that's dry, we'll go on to one long stage or one large amount of contrast paint over it, which should do a great deal of the detail for us, and that'll be nice, quick, easy, and hopefully a nice paint scheme. So we'll come back to this once I've finished filling all this in. And with a little tidying up, and just running a little lighter blue around the edges of the shoulder pads, and this is where we're up to now. So let's do some more detail. What I think we'll do is these little bits of tabard, or these little tassels here, I think we'll do those first. So we're going to do those in red, and the rest we're going to do in sort of off-white bone colour. So we do the red first, then when we go over it with a brown, it won't bother the red too much. So again, we're going to use a contrast red. Now this one, we've got some options here. We've either got the poppy red from Speed Paint, or this rather nice Flesh Tearers red in the contrast range. I'm going to go with the Flesh Tearers red because I'm just liking the consistency a little bit more. So again, a bit on the palette, a bit on the brush, and we're literally just going to push it all around the areas that we need here. Again, letting it fall into the crevices and just fill in the bits we want without being too mad. There we go. Plenty of it. If you do it a little bit too shy with the paint, it does sometimes tend to look a bit thin and not settle properly. So let's just put those a little bit underneath as well. There we go. Now again, we'll leave that stage to dry. That's a very, very quick stage. And what we're going to do then is just go over the whole area with a brown colour. And that'll really pull everything in together in one move. And then all we need to do then is just highlight some details, like this little, almost like a incense burner he has here. And maybe the inside of the shield, perhaps a brown colour, or maybe a grey, just to shade it in a bit. And then obviously details like his Warhammer there as well. The Warhammer, we can do it almost in one. Now, actually what we might do is, that's good thinking, let's go with a red. Let's see what the red does over the top of that. That's quite nice. Again, almost a sort of purpley colour, so we'll do the handle, the sort of leather leather-bound handle of his Warhammer in that. And that's another stage done together. Again, we'll neaten up any areas where we spill over onto his glove in a bit. Well, I think we can say that's sort of coming to life now. And really, if you were just looking for tabletop ready, that's really all you need, isn't it? I mean, you've got 3 colours, plus an extra one. So if you're going to any sort of local tournament, you just need something quick and easy, there you go. But let's put a bit more onto this one. So now I'm going to add on one of my favourites. I use this so much. This one is Contrast Skeleton Horde. Again, over a bone colour, either straightforward bone colour from a spray can, many are available, or over an off-white as we've used here. Gives a really good bone effect without needing to do an awful lot of dry brushing and fiddling about as we used to back when I was a lad. This is just a much better way of doing things. It's also great for golds and other browns and mixed with other things as well. A brownie red with this over the top gives a very nice colour as well. Good for horses, I found. So let's just again get a bit of this on the brush and on the palette, and we're basically going to put this all over. So if we just put over the actual cloth tabard here, pushing it into the recesses, and as we said before, it can go over the red we've just done. That's not a problem. It'll just complement that even more. And load it on a little bit more, and down the tabard at the front here as well. Again, don't be afraid to really push it into all the crevices. I'd say slap it on. That's almost what we are doing. A little bit more there to make sure it's all covered. As I always say with the contrast paints, let it do the work. Push it in there. Just try and keep see there where it went a bit bubbly there. Make sure you just push the bubbles away, because sometimes they do burst as it dries and go a little bit funny. Let's just turn around and get into all the recesses of the folds of the cloth here as well. And I'll give a really nice contrast on this particular miniature between the stark plates of his armour and the softer folds of the cloth material of his tabard. Now, also, alongside this, let's push a bit over the actual armour. Yeah, there we see. It's on the armour. It just gives it a deeper gold and just helps to start bringing out some of the recesses there. So again, we're literally just going to push that all over him. All areas, there we are. And just load on a little bit more. Around the edges of his shoulder pads, and we'll probably do the face and the helm as well. There we are. And under here. Now I also did his almost gauntlets there. We'll leave those off for the moment. We'll do those maybe a darker brown. I've got one in mind for that. That rather nice snakebite leather works nice for that one. And just give a little bit more of interest on the miniature. Let's just push that around a bit more. Spread evenly a bit. There we are. Around on his hands as well. Again, we put it over the wrapped leather of his Warhammer handle. And just under the arm there as well. And right up to the edge of that leathery gauntlet. There we are. Let's not forget the underside of the rear of his tabard again. So see, we really slap that on. Don't be scared of that. Push that around the side there as well. And yes, again, with all our stages, we'll just finish off around that, let him dry, and then we'll see where we're up to.